evening, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you so much for your time here, and I know I'm preceding a very interesting session after, so I'll make it quick, as been advised to me, then make it as fast as possible. I'll try my best. Today I wear two hats. Today I'm representing UNICEF, and we had somebody from UNICEF who couldn't make it, so I'm going to present a presentation which they would have done so, and my second hat today would be as an IAA representative. And so on behalf of IAA, I first of all want to thank 3 Years of Fi and the Ad Club for giving us this opportunity and this wonderful platform to talk a very, very important topic, which I think each one of you feel from the heart, but what are we doing about it is important to discuss as well. So very quickly, gender socialization begins, or even better, or even before birth, and continues throughout childhood and intensifies during adolescence. While socialization affects both girls and boys, and harmful aspects of it most often leads to disadvantages for girls and women. These disadvantages manifest in deep and concrete ways, giving women and girls lesser power, less control over life choices, fewer skills for employment, fewer resources and less control over those resources that double the burden of paid and unpaid care work, etc. Simultaneously, gender socialization encourages boys to participate in risky and more aggressive behaviors, example, conflicting with the law, substance abuse, physical violence, dropping out of school, etc. Fathers miss out on the positive and the challenging aspects and providing care. Socialization happens at home, at school, among friends and other social groups, in places of worship, and through advertising and media at any social ecological scale. These include individuals, whether it's parents, teachers, caregivers, faith leaders, sports coaches, etc., and institutions, homes, schools, clubs, etc. Programmatic responses must also involve a variety of agents of socialization. Advertising plays a significant role in shaping and reinforcing gender norms and roles. We all believe in that, and we've seen how it impacts our society at large. So, about 2 years ago, IAA partnered with UNICEF and the Gina Davis Institute, Gina Davis Institute of Gender and Media, where we conducted a survey of about 1,000 most popularly viewed ads and analyzed about 3,500 visually prominent speaking and non-speaking characters to come up with what we believe has been the outcome of that study. So it was a very in-depth study, though I must add it was done about a couple of years ago. So what you see today is maybe things have moved in the last 2 to 3 years, but considering that this study was done after 20, 30 years of our industry, the fact is that things are moving, but maybe not as fast as we would like. The bottom line of the evidence showed us that women and men are almost as likely to appear in ads. So that's the good part, that while women dominate the screen, and almost all ads pass the CJN test. The CJN test is an ad wherein the advert, there is a woman in the creative. So that was the good outcome of it. So there are enough women in the advertising. And when you look at the screen and the speaking time, it's not so bad either. There is female characters are dominating the screens, which is a good part, which is great. And even when you look at the global comparison, it doesn't look so bad. We're not so bad when it comes to the global comparison in terms of women being seen in advertising. And when you look at the CJN test, that too was not so bad. There are a lot of women in advertising, which means that representation of women in advertising exists, which is the good part. But then the research started showing us very interesting findings. It started to throw up really critical and important nuances, where the women are underrepresented and overrepresented. So if you look at the female character representation, they're overrepresented in personal care, fashion, and corporate maybe. But when it comes to banking, finance, media entertainment, travel, sports, anything infrastructure-led, there is high underrepresentation. While girls and women have a strong presence in advertising, what is mostly seen is that women are either selling domestic or beauty products and targeting to very specific female consumers. Even when you look at the age, female characters are, then there are these series of further nuances which came out. Ages, for example, always younger and from middle class communities, mostly fair skin tones, and fair tones are mostly for women and not for men. Characters with lower income communities are underrepresented. Characters with dark skin tones are underrepresented, and you'll see that across in most of our, in the detailed findings. Colorism is evident in Indian ads. Light skin tones are always women which are from a higher income society, and when there is a lower caste or lower class women to be shown, it's always a dark skinned woman. Female characters are more likely to have light or medium light skin, while male characters are more likely to have dark skin. Very stereotypical. And it continues in physical appearances of body sizes as well, which are usually small for women. Most women shown in creatives are small and medium size, but never in the large size when it comes to physical attribute. Some of the quality findings. When it comes to appearances and gender, female characters are most likely to be seen as stunning and attractive. They're better than average looking. Very rarely do you find women not so average looking. Upper class female characters are more likely to be shown as stunning and better than average looking. Again, highlighting the stereotypical aspect of our communication. Female characters with light skin tones are more likely to be shown as stunning or better than average looking. And of course, then there are a number of other such parameters like sexualization, the roles women are playing, a scene playing, or the occupations they are shown in, whether they are in leadership situations, if they make enough decisions. So there's 6 times likely that women are shown with revealing clothing, 5 times more likely to be sexually objectified, and to be 4 times likely to be shown as nude. I'll just straight get to the last point, which is interventions for what we believe the content creators can do. There are some things on the slide, but I'd just like to say a few things. So it was through these engagement with UNICEF that we realized that how much influence of all kinds media formats have on children and young people, and how this influence starts at a young age. When a girl watches an ad over a period of time, it influences her, and she thinks that how she should look, behave, think, and be. Or even if she watches a movie, it would influence. Of course, there are many other influences, but this is key. If this is so, then it is very important to understand, though through solid evidence, that we are existing roles, wherein the existing roles of girls and women in advertising and how they could influence children and young people. So UNICEF and Gina Davis and IAA found this an opportunity to bring this conversation to the table. So this is a small step in that direction, and more on that if you want this data, happy to share that with you. But now I'll get back to the panel to have this conversation with this wonderful panel. Thank you. Okay, so thank you, lady and gentlemen, for being on this panel. So I think the first question to you, Anu, representing the media agencies and the agency fraternity at large. So the media environment, as you know, is changing. Okay, we know that there's a lot of unconventional advertising and also movies which are led by women. And that's all good. But how do you think the advertising industry is evolving, and what is it that the industry is doing to address this, the stereotypical or the gender representation of women in advertising?
So I think the industry has progressed. I mean, I'm talking about it as being part of the industry over now 28 years. Definitely has progressed, and we keep talking about a lot of ads which win awards and are splashed a lot on media. The usual, we keep talking about these ads, whether it is Share the Load from Ariel or, many ads from Whisper and similarly Airtel, Tanishq and all of that, wedding campaign. In fact, I want to narrate this actually. I recently went to Singapore. I'm coming from Singapore. I'd gone for second round of jury for FEs. And I happened to be moderating a discussion in my panel of jury. And there was this ad from India, which was, I think, yet again a women empowerment ad. And it sort of became a little discussion around the jury, which was representing many regions and many sort of backgrounds. Saying that, oh, I'm finding, yesterday I was in another session and there also there was this women empowerment ad. This was for a, for a periods thing, and this one is for mobility, and yet everywhere there's this women empowerment thing. So I had to sort of intervene. My role was more as a moderator, but I did intervene. I said, coming from India, I must tell you that we believe that enough is not happening. So so there is progress, but I think there is, it is the tip of the iceberg really, which is clearly moving. At agencies, I think across networks, there is a lot of sensitization, whether it is bias training, whether it is even in sort of going through all the work and seeing whether it is progressive enough. So the needle on how progressive your work is, awareness around it, education around it, is happening constantly. But clearly your data shows that we are not moving the needle enough. So obviously we need to do some more and possibly have more representation and better this thing of women.
Yeah, we hope that the next study has better results, and I think each voice can make a difference. So thanks, Anu, for that. The question to you now, Tarun, you represent a social community of women, and it's a very progressive way of representing women. But why, according to you, considering you've spent time creating content for women as well, why isn't it important to have women shown in progressive way in today's world?
So, whether it is television, whether it is web series, whether it is movies, right, and whether it is now short form content, unfortunately the stereotyping of women has been quite harsh. When we did create daily soaps that did very well, we created characters that eventually showed the woman to be the housewife who took care of the entire, or united the entire family. People love those characters, but it's so stereotypical. Very few soaps would actually cross the line to say, hey, this is a woman who's actually at workplace and is doing something different. And there was one show which actually shook everybody, was Just See, right? Because she was an ugly duckling, was working in a fashion house, and she became a character that everybody could really rally around. Unfortunately, not many characters like that have ever come back on television, and they are few and far between. When the whole web series thing started, it was all about action, and men and women were relegated to a secondary role. And then, when we were building out Coto, which is a social community app for women, we did a lot of research around what's happening on short form. And the amount of stereotyping that has happened on TikTok or on Instagram, and if you ever research what is like TikTok known for, it's only known for dancing girls, right? And known for some comedy by women and men, but that's how, badly we've stereotyped people into the short form video game. And pertinent, relevant conversations are really almost ignored or seen not cool on most platforms, whether it is TV, whether it is web, whether it is the digital media. And unfortunately, not enough gets done even in a new age of technology around it. Because there are so few women in STEM. There are such few women leaders right up with the tech companies who think of women products. When we were building a product for women, it was almost like a consumer product for women. I was like, the US and the Valley has built so many great technology products. Why didn't anybody ever think of building a product for women? Because the whole white and male is a great combination that runs Silicon Valley, and now brown, but unfortunately not women.
Moving my question to you, Kailash, I think considering you're representing the media, and a critical part of the influence comes for what the content gets created. While this report is all about advertising, but we do also know the objectification of women and how they get represented in content. What, according to you, should media owners and content creators be doing to address this?
Megha, I came across some very interesting finding while I was studying about this topic. In today's age, where we are so data-driven, machine learning, data analytics, artificial intelligence, AI, AR, VR, 37% of the women globally do not have access to internet. And this is a cause of concern, you know. And as a sub-product of this is what happening is, which even the United Nations has shared in its Women Gender Snapshot, several low to middle income countries, they are losing annually $1 trillion in GDP because women are excluded from the digital world. Now, digital world could mean anything. It could be digital technology, digital media, I mean, any part of the digital world. So, I mean, when I read these statistics, and if empirical data is to go by, it is really shocking, and the need actually arises that we create some systematic approaches where bringing women under the ambit of technology will actually lead to more creative solutions. Now, there are some very simple approaches that you can follow. It is about enabling the women to access certain digital products and services or technological products. Might as well you link them with digital banking, and the report which was shared by you, which showed that they are highly underrepresented in banking and finance. And the third most important, which I feel, is that you could empower women with digital skill sets, which will make them for future ready. You know, they have the power to make meaningful careers in media, in content, in advertising, and at the same time, but what we need to do as a society is to approach it as a more holistic growth. If we do not do that, then naturally the gender bias will be there.
Very quickly to you, Anand, any personal moment where you feel that you've where you felt that women representation in media is not right?
Namaste to everybody. Happy to be back here for the third time, although this time as a panelist and not as somebody who's moderating the session. I'll quickly get to the point. I'm a huge advocate of meritocracy. That means merit. Whichever field you are, it should not be gender-driven, it should be merit-driven and ability-driven. The other aspect is, if you are not doing it at your own home, as a father, as a mother, don't expect anybody else in society to do it. So, ask this question, why is it that we don't have women civil engineers? Why we don't have women mechanical engineers? Why we don't have women IT professionals or tech coders? Why? How many of us are parents here in this house, in this audience? How many of us have been father, brother, mother, sister, daughter, and we have treated our children equally? Or we have ensured that we are treated equally? The son contributes into the kitchen as much as the daughter does. The son washes the plates as much as the daughter does. It all starts from our home. So you cannot go ahead and tell somebody that, okay, let's just change the fruit, but let the roots be the same. The fruit can't change the root. Yeah, but can you seed something in that fruit so that the next time it takes seed somewhere else, you can change? Yes, you can. The other aspect, how many of us are actually catering to that income group which is maximum across our country, that is less than 50,000 rupees per month? How many of us are advertising or building content and products for them? 200 crores is what Kerala Story has done. How many of us are championing the fact that a woman-oriented movie for the first time has done 200 crores? WPL, the second richest league in the world after IPL. 15 years after the IPL, the WPL has sold for 1,000 crore media rights. Are we championing that? How many brands that have associated with the WPL have turned around and said that? So we need to start owning up. You know, you read the report, and pardon me, where we did very well, you said not too bad. Why? We did better than the global average in representation of women. We should have been proud as a country that we are doing it. We are 51% women in our country. And if 51% women are turning around and saying gender ideology and equality, then we need to look back into society, into our own homes, and see how are we treating our own children. Is there a difference? Are we more protective about our daughter and telling her, go towards art, go towards the softer skills? Are we telling the son, I need a son क्योंकि वो मेरा धंधा संभालेगा या उसको मैं उधर भेजूंगा तू इधर काम कर? If we are doing that, let's not be agents of change. We cannot be. I feel the day we decide collectively here as content producers, content generators, storytellers, whatever we are, that we are going to look at a story, a brand from the prism of merit, from the prism of it delivering to the person and with common insights of society, and we're going to be downright honest about it. We sort ourselves out. We will sort ourselves
Fantastic. Out. So there's definite hope, and Anand has made it very, very vociferous about it. Well, thank you, Anand. Clearly, there is room for improvement. There's lots which has happened, but clearly we can do much more. One is to say, one is to do. Some of us are being representatives and make the change happening at home, but there's a 1.4 billion country we have to reach out to for make that change happen. And each one of you in this room can play that part of how you represent women or men for that matter in any form of creativity you put out there, whether it is 30 seconds or 3 hours. And I think that's an important part. One thing I'll just wind up by saying that this study, of course, was a start point. We will follow up with another study, but what we want to do also is reach out to each of you and your agencies and your and clients to have those interactions, to bring in those conversations. We've had some fantastic support from Leo Burnett, from Havas, and really believe that that change can happen from home. And to Anand's point, for you, your home is your agency as well and your clients, and we do hope that you can make that difference.
The final 20 seconds to the lady who's the MC and who said gender bias, why is there no man? Hey, I'm asking her. I asked everybody, I said, why aren't you having a male? So they said, when the woman is doing such a fantastic job, why do we need a man? So that's not bias, that's preference. You're doing a damn good job, so pat yourself on the back. Thank you, thank you.
Thank you, everyone. Thanks for listening in. Thank you, wonderful panelists, for a wonderful conversation. Thank you.